Say you decide to build that poop tracking app grandma has always wanted. But you're from the US, where the hourly rate of a developer is about $80. Will grandma fully understand her bowel movements? Now she can, because I'll be sharing 6 places to outsource your software development in 2024. Editor, can we get a casual racism counter somewhere here? Let's see how much I can offend people without even trying in the next 9 minutes. Like I said, I'll be sharing 6 regions outside the US and Canada for outsourcing software development, where the hourly rates of developers are much lower than the $80 you'd pay in North America. Now, I don't think I need to explain why it doesn't matter how much less you pay if you hire lousy developers. Even more important than where to outsource, I'll be sharing how to outsource. And if you don't want to go through the trouble, there's a simple solution to enjoy the benefits of outsourcing while virtually eliminating all risk. Let's start. Where to outsource software development? Here are 6 regions you should consider: Mexico, Eastern Europe, Latin America, Asia Pacific, India, Africa. And now I'll back up what I've said with some figures. These numbers are based on a 2024 blog by UTeam, a developer outsourcing marketplace that connects founders and organizations with development teams across the world. They work with teams from different continents and have no reason to lie. Plus, their Malaysian rates are pretty accurate, so I'm comfortable citing them. Link to their blog in the description. This video is not sponsored by them, but it could be. It should be. Hit me up, UTeam. Anyway, I think it's best to drip feed you the information as a table. And we will add columns of information to the table one at a time. And it all uses North American developers as an anchor point for comparison. First, we'll list the 6 regions we'll be looking at. So, Mexico, Eastern Europe, Latin America, India, Asia Pacific, and Africa. These are the 6 regions we'll be comparing to North America. Technically, UTeam has grouped Mexico into Latin America with countries like Bolivia and Brazil. But I think Mexico is so close to the US that it deserves to be its own entry. If you live in a border town, it's hardly even outsourcing anymore. Also, I bet some of you are not too sure where Eastern Europe is and what's the difference between it and West Europe. Put it this way, West Europe is where all the fancy manufacturing happens. Germany, France, Switzerland, developer rates here are barely lower than the US. East Europe is where 90% of CSGO AWPers come from. Ukraine, Poland, Kazakhstan, this side of Europe if you can find some good deals. Speaking of which, let's add our second column, the average developer's hourly rate in each region, and let's also rearrange it in descending order. If you look at the bottom half of the table, you see just how much you save by outsourcing. Hiring competent developers will never be cheap. But instead of white, the right shade of black, brown, or yellow can save you a lot of greens. The average developer hourly rate in India is about $30 US. So for every hour of work by John McFreedom in New York, you could get almost 3 times the number of hours from Gupta Mahmud in Mumbai. If we stop here and just look at these 2 columns, everyone would just outsource their work to Asia and Africa. But wait, there's another key factor to consider: time differences. Obviously, there's no such thing as time differences between continents, so let's use California in the US as a reference point. It's Silicon Valley after all. Let's add another column showing the time differences between each region and California. Now it gets interesting, because you see opportunity cost in action. Speaking in averages, Asia has the best cost saving, but also the biggest time difference. Mexico looks pretty well balanced. I often hear Americans complain about people from Mexico coming across the border to find jobs. Well, it looks to me like jobs from America will be going across the border to find people from Mexico. That wasn't racist. That was geopolitical commentary. This is racist.
What's the matter, amigos?
One more for the tally. So we've looked at 2 factors so far: average developer hourly rate and average time difference. And Mexico seems to be the clear-cut winner. Let's add in a new, equally critical factor. But first, let me share another option for outsourcing your grandma's app. My team and I at Upside Studio help non-technical entrepreneurs grow past $5 to $10 million in annual revenue with custom software. We've worked with over 30 leading brands across industries. These businesses were stuck where no ready-made solution on the market solved their problem. To continue growing, they had to make their own solution. If your business is also currently stuck at this 5 to 10 million level and you want to explore custom solutions, let me help. There's a link in the description to sign up for a free, no strings attached strategy session. We'll dissect your current constraint together and you get an honest opinion about whether custom software is your answer. And if yes, we decide if we can work together. If it's not, you just save yourself from a very big investment with no ROI. Apply through the link and we'll be in touch. I'm only taking 3 of these calls per month and it's first come, first serve. So if you want to work with me, apply now. Back to the video. Right, so the third consideration, average English proficiency. My information is based on the latest data from the International English Proficiency Index, a ranking of countries based on how their citizens perform at standard English tests. I tallied the score of the countries for each region and averaged them out. So here they are. India, 604. Eastern Europe, 447.35. Latin America, 448. Asia Pacific, 459.24. And Africa, 464, Mexico, 451. Now, if we run these numbers against EFEPI scoring bands, we can add this column to the table. The opportunity cost intensifies. Latin America may have the best balance between cost saving and time zone differences, but the average English proficiency is very low. India, with its huge time difference, has the highest average English proficiency. If you don't think sharing a common tongue matters, here's a very tragic story to show it does. In 2017, a Dutch teenager fell to her death while bungee jumping. The instructor's pronunciation was so bad that when he said no jump, she thought he said now jump. If your project cannot risk error, maybe it's a live project with lots of users. How much money saved is worth the risk of a higher communication error? Imagine your developer from halfway across the world says no deploy, and you think they are saying now deploy. So you go ahead and CrowdStrike the shit out of your users. Then again, Spanish is widely spoken in the US, so English may not matter if you habla español. I'm just saying a common language matters a lot. So that's my evidence and justification for what I said at the start. If I was from North America and wanted to outsource, I would go with India and Asia if I wanted the most cost-effective rates and didn't mind the time zone differences. Mexico if I was from the US and especially if I spoke Spanish, and Eastern Europe and Latin America for a balance between lower hourly rates and smaller time zone differences. Africa, I can't really see a compelling reason to choose Africa above the other options. Unless maybe if I wanted to hire a team of Nigerian prince. Can't really get them anywhere else. Of course, these are huge generalization. I'm talking about the whole continent here. There will be exceptions above and below the averages. For example, Asia is a great country, but Singapore is shit. That's a lie. They're great. But I'm Malaysian, we hate Singapore on principle. Anyway, averages exist for a reason, and these are data-backed averages. They help you decide where to start searching based on your priorities and to determine if you are being quoted a fair price. So that was the where. Now let's tackle the how. It's always the same no matter where you outsource to. How to hire overseas developers. The right way to hire a developer halfway across the world is not that much different from hiring a developer next door. You still need to establish their development methodology, development and design processes, team size and roles, and credentials. The main difference is we gotta add time zone difference to the list. Time zone wise, there's this tool called World Time Buddy that lets you easily see differences between time zones. It also lets you set up meetings during overlapping office hours via Google Calendar or Microsoft Outlook. So whatever developer you're considering, schedule a virtual call and do whatever you need to do, but ask them 6 questions. Number 1, what's your development methodology and process? Number 2, have you worked on similar projects? Number 3, what kind of tech stacks do you use? Number 4, what will our communication process be? Number 5, how many team members will you assign to my project? Number 6, how much do you think it will cost and how long will it take? I'm going to link to an older video of mine where I expand on each question, but I'll highlight 3 key questions here. The first one is number 6, a cost estimate. which tells you how much they charge per hour. The closer their rate is to the region average, the better. If they are charging way below that, there's a chance they are lowballing to get the job now and bend you over the desk later. Next is question 2. Do they have experience working on similar projects? The ideal answer is yes. But if it's a no and they're honest about it, but clearly explain why they can get it done, I would keep them. And last, question 5. Specifically, what is the team size who will be working on your project? Depending on your budget and requirements, you might want to see at least one dedicated designer and full-stack developer. If they are an agency, then you probably want a project manager on top of it all, since your project will be one of several they're working on. Remember, hiring remotely means the same processes with higher stakes. This is the point where you have the most control, so don't waste it. In fact, if the stakes are really high, consider engaging an outsourcing expert like UTeam. Like for real, they owe me a sponsorship deal at this point. I also recently looked at another example called Comet. Agencies like this handle the vetting and screening of tech professionals across the world. You just tell them what you need and they recommend developers that match. So you might have Bobby McFreedom and Gupta Mahmood working on the same team. It costs extra, but nowhere near the cost of having to replace a bad team. If you're serious about outsourcing, interviewing developers is a serious business. Just ask beloved TV character Mr. Pochukang.
Don't play player.
So those 6 questions I shared earlier, what's a good answer? What's a bad answer? What's a so-so answer? And what are some follow-up questions you can ask depending on what they say? As promised, here's my video where I dive into 6 questions to weed out toxic app developers. I hope you found this video useful, and if you have, please leave a like and subscribe for more content like this. Let's check out those questions.